And we start in the Middle East for our top story, where more than 100 aid organisations have issued a stark warning that mass starvation is spreading in the Gaza Strip. The appeal comes ahead of the US top envoy's scheduled talks in Europe on a potential ceasefire and the establishment of an aid corridor. A total of 111 organisations, including Mercy Corps, the Norwegian Refugee Council and Refugees International, signed a joint statement demanding an immediate and permanent ceasefire, as well as the removal of all restrictions on humanitarian aid deliveries. The group said food, clean water and medical supplies are being blocked just outside Gaza, with humanitarian workers unable to access or distribute them. They also called on governments to push for the lifting of the bureaucratic barriers and the opening of all land crossings, unrestricted access across Gaza, and the restoration of a UN-led aid operation free from military interference. We're now joined by Peter Baum, who's the foreign editor of the Weekly Blitz. He joins us live from London. Peter, thank you very much, as always, for joining us. Peter, more than 100 aid agencies here, 111, have come forward and issued this joint statement condemning the mass starvation in Gaza, calling for unrestricted aid access, calling for the participation of the United Nations in this distributing in aid, and also calling for the Israeli military to pull back from this aid distribution that is currently going on. 111 aid organisations. This is quite a strong statement. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a very strong statement, Thomas, and in fact it's unique. I can't remember in any other previous conflict, whether the Rwandan genocide or the Syrian civil war or any other major conflict where people have suffered, has such a united front been given from the aid agencies. And one has to ask ourselves why. And I think it's all to do, Thomas, and I think this may surprise your listeners, but it's all to do, in my opinion, with the way the Trump administration is handling the Middle East conflict and other conflicts, both domestically and around the world. And this is to smash the business model of those major UN agencies who have profited through corruption and facilitated the suffering of the Palestinian people. I have no doubt that that's what's driving these agencies to band together, because they can see their business model being absolutely shattered. It's no surprise, Thomas, that when the Trump administration decided to defund UNRWA, that Hamas, a month later, was unable to pay its operatives. The Trump administration continues, and we saw it, I think, only yesterday when they decided to defund UNESCO, that the major UN agencies need the income streams from the donor countries for the Palestinians to survive as agencies themselves. So these smaller agencies,
Peter,
also sometimes very reliable on income streams related to the Palestinians, seeing their livelihoods under threat. And I have no doubt this is the major factor driving them, not their concern for the Palestinians.
Peter, this statement accuses Israel of a siege and say that Israel is not allowing food into the Gaza Strip to be distributed. There's warns of mass starvation here, and obviously we are living in an era of modern technology. We have seen images of the state of some Gazans in what seems to be malnutrition. Also, we've seen the reports of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and also the videos captured of interviews of Gazans who had been trying to get aid, and say that they risk their life here going to these aid points distributed by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation to get something as simple as a bag of flour. On Tuesday, the Hamas-run health ministry said that 33 people had died from malnutrition in 48 hours. I just want to reiterate, of course, that the reason why we use the Gaza Health Ministry is because Israel won't now let international bodies, entities into the Gaza Strip. So those are the only numbers that we have here. Peter, what are your thoughts on this accusation of a siege which Israel is allegedly allowing?
Okay, again, this would be fairly predictable from those agencies. I wonder, Thomas, I've not seen the official statement yet, only what's been reported in the press and a synopsis of it, but I can see nowhere where those 111 aid agencies demanded the release of the hostages. And that being the case, I think any reasonable person, any morally decent person would see that these agencies are coming from one direction and one direction only. The fact that, and if I'm wrong here, I will apologise to you and to your viewers, but I can and listeners, I can find nothing in that statement that demands the hostage release.
Peter, they are aid agencies, though. They're there to distribute food and medical supplies to people who need them on the battlefield. They're not there to negotiate war terms.
But Thomas, at the same time, they've demanded the Israeli, in your own words, the Israeli military desist from the siege. This is a military operation. And that being the case, the only way the Israeli military would do that is if the hostages were released. So the aid agencies, again, as I say, are coming from this issue from a one-sided viewpoint. If indeed they were, let's say, impartial players in this, then at the same time as demanding the Israeli military, let's say, pull back and lift the siege, if that's what they call it, they would also be requesting or demanding the release of the hostages. And by the mere fact that they haven't, Thomas, indicates to me that these are not good faith actors.
Okay, Peter, thank you very much. You are staying with us to discuss some further issues. We now move over to the United States for our next story, where Columbia University